You have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something in your life. Winston Churchill. Embracing is a tricky connotation. It's to know all of you. You know, a lot of people, myself included, we like to show our strengths. You know, if you're good at something, I like to do art, or I don't know, I'm a good hairstylist, or I like to I design stuff like that. A lot of people like to show those sides of them, put the best foot forward, or good old make it, fake it till you make it. And that's not all of you. And oftentimes we kind of sweep you know the things that we need to work on under the rug. It's not, we don't try to face them whatsoever. And in order for you to come fully in love, you have to love every part of yourself. You have to acknowledge every part of yourself, and that comes with a lot of self-reflection and a lot of accepting who you are. And yeah, a lot of things mold and shape us. It's nature versus nurture, biological side of DNA things, which your genes. But it's oftentimes it is our experiences that we grew up with, who was around us, that molds our habits. It molds your personality. But going deeper than subsurface, that is a make or break deal in order for you to have a breakthrough. And I struggled a lot in the beginning, and I still struggle. It's some things that I know what triggers me. I know, certain things automatically. You get that person that go from 1 to 100, and you gotta know what makes you tick. If you don't know what makes you tick, you're going to be susceptible to someone that does know. And then you're like putty. You're like putty in their hands. And, I did that a lot. I came from a very, everyone knows nurturing. I say this all the time throughout the whole podcast. I love nurturing. But if there's no healthy boundaries set in place, anyone that is that knows this can sense it. They will use that, if that person does not have good intentions for you, they will use it. And that's their own things that they have to deal with. But that comes with knowing your weaknesses. It's funny, the saying, I was just watching a YouTube video of a prophetic word, and his name is Eli. Very, very God filled with wisdom. He's a lot of gems, but he was talking about pretty much weapons that's formed against you, and it is in the Bible. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. But sometimes that weapon is you, and the devil loves to use these things, especially when you about to hit a breakthrough, or you finally got into this acknowledgement of who God is, what God, who God is for you, to you, and pretty much the path you're supposed to be at. You had your encounter, exactly what's going on, all the variables with it, and the devil, you go into a new arena, so, and these are different weapons, but they all come from the same source. So if you get offended with a mama joke, best believe your next arena is not going to be the old school, well, your mama so this, that, da, da, da. It's not going to be anything like that. But it will be someone that, comes off as a trigger, and it's indirected toward your mother, or you may have someone that, may act like the person, the archetype that you don't like, that triggers you for your mother. And it's all how you handle it. It comes with maturity. And sometimes I fail at that. I fail miserably. But it comes to a time where I have to face it. And I'm getting to that lesson now. You have to face it. You cannot go to bigger bodies of water if you can't master the pond that you're in. And once you get too big, you can't get content. You can't sit there, you the big fish in the pond. You need to go to a bigger body of water quick. But that comes with growth. But knowing your weapons, embracing who you are, is not shunning the things you need to work on in your life, or when it comes to the soul fiber of who you are. God knows that you have some things to work on, and if you're able to acknowledge that you have some things to work on, that is mainly the first step. Because no one comes to, it's always room of growing at every point in your life. I don't know everything, and it took a lot of school and just, listening ear to other people that do know, reading a lot of books, watching a lot of lectures, stuff like that. But I don't know everything. Shoot, sometimes I get it wrong. And please correct me if I say something wrong. Please correct me in a loving way. But yes, it's all room for growth. And I'm willing to say that I need to be taught. And you have to be teachable, but once you kind of can humble yourself and just be like, hey, I don't know it. I don't know everything. I don't got this right now. I need help. That's when you're able, that leaves room for growth. I struggled with that for a long time when it came to wanting help. Everything was, I was such a appeaser growing up with my parents and friends and stuff like that in school, that I never thought about myself. Myself was the last person it wasn't even a thought, so whenever somebody wanted to help me, and it literally was, nah, I'm good. I don't need nothing. And it's like, yo, clearly you need some help. Nah, I'm good. How can I help you? When you really look at it, from an aerial view, it's kind of condescending. And it's selfish how I was acting, and it's almost saying to the person that I'm good, I don't need nothing, but, how can I help you? You look like you need some help. After a while, that person's on some like, I'm good, sit your high mighty behind down over there, and you're going to have several seats. It does come off very disrespectful. And I've struggled with that because I couldn't see it. I literally couldn't see it. And it came from me not having worth within myself, that I put myself last. And if someone truly wants to help you, truly wants to be there, you are pushing them away when you really look at it. And that was one of my weapons that I formed against myself, so I can know every word in the dictionary. That does not negate the fact or take away that I don't know how to ask for help. And that's one of the basic needs that people do. You fell and you can't get up. You ask for help. It's the normal thing that anyone would do. I didn't know how to do that. It was a dysfunction there. And I had to acknowledge it in order for me to break that cycle. And no, it's not a magic wand. Yes, God heals you. But as I said before, it's like a light switch that goes off in the house. You have a dark room, he's going to put the light on. And you're going to see all the junk pile. And you're sitting there like, oh. He's like, yeah, let's go. We're about to train. And it takes time. It's habit. You have to become a habit. And it's a healthy mindset. It's healthy ways of maturing yourself. But you got to do the work. And know sometimes you're going to drop a box. Sometimes you're going to mess up. People have emotions. It takes true discipline to be able to have control over it. But it's definitely what self-love is. That's what it comes down to. A lot of people, when they talk about self-love, don't believe the hype. Mani-pedis, getting a massage, taking a long bath with roses and candles. That's not self-love. It's not. It's one of the symptoms of self-love. That's what comes along. It's like a co-package with it, but that's not essentially what self-love is. Self-love is hard. Self-love is dirty. Self-love is pulling up your sleeves. To really sit down with yourself, and sometimes it does take isolation. Sometimes isolation is a good thing because you sit with yourself, you sit with your thoughts, and if you're proactive with your isolation, not just isolate and just think about the problem, but you come with the leadership mindset of how can I fix this? I can't help anyone until I fix myself, and if you're actively in a positive way, deciphering your thoughts, deciphering your past, and it's literally Sigmund Freud, psychodynamic approach when it comes to that. You literally go back when you do therapy and you do talk therapy. You go back to the person's past and you break it down from there. If you're able, and I love that approach. If I ever, go down, I have that choice, I will be doing psychodynamic indefinitely. But I'm trying to do that with myself, and I try to do it with myself every day. And yeah, it gets pretty deep. You look kind of crazy sometimes, but I'm learning a whole lot about myself that I shoved underneath the rug. I did that all the time. What happens when you don't look back at the past to do cleanup work? That house becomes a hoarder house, and you don't even know it. So, yes, God will put a light switch on. That doesn't mean that you leave the house and you leave it condemned. No, this is your house. This is your mind. You only get one. So you have to clean house. You have to get where you got to get to, point A to point B. But that is what self-love is. It's not fun. I don't think it'll ever be fun, the process of it. But the goal is so sweet, and it's God's promise to you. Whatever purpose that lies within you is going to bring so much joy, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's happy work because you know the end goal, and you're doing it just to make God smile because He chose you. Not for nothing. You don't want to get to the point where you're doing all this for God and you're not really truly doing any work, any true work. And you sit there and you die and you go up to heaven and you tell God, well, okay, what's up, God? How you doing, bro? And He's sitting looking at you like, I'm sorry, who it is? You don't want to have the text. You texting God, how you doing? And He sit there and He goes, I'm sorry, this is a new number. I don't know who the hell this is. How you don't know me? I've been doing this for years. Nah, I don't think I remember you. So, and that can happen. And I never want to get to that. I never want to hear them words. So, yes, if I have to humble myself, I'd rather humble myself before God humbles me. Oh, definitely. So yes, I do sometimes get triggered and sometimes I do get mad, but I automatically have to put myself in the mind state of what can you learn from this? God's trying to tell you something. because you're getting triggered by this. Something is up, and until you're able to fix that, you will not go to a bigger body of water. You will never make it out to the ocean. You will never become a shark. In my case, a mermaid. But you will never get to that point. You will always forever stay a guppy until you do that inner work. And God is a gentleman, okay? He's not going to sit there and be like, he's not going to pull you up by the back of your neck and say, let's go. He's going to sit right by that pond. You tired yet? The ocean is that way. I don't know why you over here. So it takes a lot. But it can be done, And until I got to the point of it, you have to come with a pure heart. It's easier to see someone's reason on their behaviors. Once you know your weaknesses and your strengths, you can deal with that. You know where that person now is coming from, and you know that it's stemming from something else within them. You don't get mad anymore. And I'm learning that. I'm going through my journey, my process. I'm learning that. I've conquered a lot. God's brought me through a lot running after God, okay? But there's still so much more I need to learn. I'm really trying to get a whole mindset when it comes to the world of nonprofits and, deeper mindset of business and how taxes work and, stock market, stuff like that, real estate. And it's a lot. It ain't easy, especially when you got no mentor. So I'm on the lookout for a mentor. Anybody want to come, definitely email. Definitely reach out to me. But, yeah, it's a big arena, But once you're able to know and you're able to master, this is going to trigger me. You then know the steps on how to master it, and you don't fall to the vicious cycle of you succumbing to that weapon that has always been there. The devil is very cunning, okay? He knows you. He knows you way more than you think. And that's why it is wise to get to know yourself, to get to know that the devil definitely is strategically planning to make you fall. But do rest assured that your God is bigger. And nothing will go against you. But you have to know your weapons. You cannot go into battle and not know what the battle, who's on the other side, what they're carrying. You're going to have to take a full assessment of what type of guns they got. If they only got swords, they got cannons. You need to know the battleground so you could strategically win this battle. And yes, you are leaning everything sometimes you let go and let God do it, but you do know if there is a sniper that's trying to get into your camp, you know exactly what that sniper is and you know exactly what he's going to be using. So, you can counteract that. I'm good. I got the armor of God. But if you don't know your weapons and you sitting there, trying to protect yourself from a knife, and that guy got a gun, come on now, bro. You know not to bring a knife to a gunfight. So, once you're able to do that, you're good. And I had to learn this. And I'm learning this just now, okay? When's the first time you learn X, Y, and Z? Today. I'm learning this today. And this is what this podcast is about. This episode is about that. Embracing all the aspects of who you are. And yes, you would think that this will be child's play. Some people have not gone to that level. I'm okay to say I've not gone to this level too now. Some things I've pushed past flying colors, and some things every time big old F, so I'm trying to get my A. I'm done with the F's. I'm trying to get that A. But yeah, when it comes down to it, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. And when you don't know something, pray on it. I'll pray on it, and lo and behold, it'll be a book that's passing by, or somebody will say something, or I see a YouTube video, or somebody, posted something, and that's the answer right then within itself. So sometimes it's not going to be, I remember I used to do this all the time. God, I want to see a yellow BMW. When you ask God for a sign, that's like premature faith. Where you need a sign for every little thing. And I had to learn, I had to train faith, training it, that you don't need to see a yellow BMW. Just know that I am God. Just know. And that in itself is so reassuring, even though you may get lost within your own thoughts, and your own, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? Because of course I'm an overthinker, but when you can fall back to know that I am God, and that's why I always say, when you have time, you ain't got to be a whole religious fanatic, and be like, I got to constantly read the Bible. But do start getting familiar with it, because these biblical structure, they mean something. They there for a reason, and sometimes I get lazy with it sometimes, and I don't be reading my Bible as much as I need to. But I'd rather humble myself than for God to humble me. You don't want to look a fool to the whole world. I'd rather God humble my behind in public, in private, than for me to be humiliated in public, and it's, God knows that we're human. God knows that you're going to sin. You're going to sin. But when Jesus died on that cross, it's okay. You forgiven. I get it. It's like, if you're really sorry, I got you. Don't worry about it. But take advantage of that grace of doing better. Don't make the same mistake over and over again like I did, getting F's like left and right. Aim for your A, and you'll graduate. Right now I'm still in classes in session, and I've been hearing that a lot. A lot of people talking about classes in session, but I'm about to get out my class. I'm about to pass, okay? Because I'm not going to be the one where God goes, I don't know who the hell you are. You gonna know me. So you gonna know me, God, because I know you. So yeah, it's silly, as goofy as I can be on this podcast. I say everything with love. I want you to strive, and I want you to grow, because we're all trying to grow. We're all in this together, and we're gonna get there. We definitely gonna do it, and when I do pass, I don't know when, 100 years from now, 50 years, 20 years, a year, I have no idea. But I'm going to be seeing every single one of y'all faces when we die, I don't want to sound dark with it, but you know what I'm trying to say. We going to do this. All right, guys, enjoy your Saturday, and God bless. I'll see you next week, all right? Bless up.